Hi guys! Welcome to another video. So it's Chingee here, and for today's video, now I am actually already in the Philippines and we'll be doing another sit-down video just like the video that I posted before when I was in quarantine in Korea. What to expect in this video: I'll be talking about the process of going home, I'll be talking about looking for a quarantine hotel, and my quarantine experience so far here in the Philippines. So first, it's really a weird experience to be back here in the Philippines. I'm happy. At the same time, I'm super sad because I really loved my stay in Korea. But I'm really thankful that I was able to stay there for almost 5 months. So it was originally supposed to be a 3-month stay, but I was extended for 2 months. But I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe I'll upload another video explaining my situation in Korea for 5 months. But yeah, now I'm glad to be back here in the Philippines. Now let's talk about the process of going home. So I went back from Korea to the Philippines via Cebu Pacific, and wow, the plane ticket for one way was so expensive. I think that's the most expensive thing that I've ever bought for myself in my whole life. So the plane ticket was around 22,000. Yes, just for a one-way trip going back here in the Philippines. So there were no other flights available. Other airlines have suspended or canceled the flights going back to the Philippines. So now there's an alarming situation with the Delta variant coronavirus. So I think in the next couple of days, maybe some flights would be canceled or some flights would be more expensive than the usual rate. The flight via Cebu Pacific was very pleasing. It was a really nice experience, probably the nicest Cebu Pacific flight that I had. So I really didn't expect that there would be a lot of passengers on the plane, but not a full flight, and I think a lot of them were OFWs. In my case, I'm a non-OFW, so I think there's a different process of going home for OFWs and non-OFWs. Okay, so anyway, the flight was very pleasant. The captain was relaying messages to the passengers the whole flight. So there was really nothing to be worried about. He was explaining weather situation, turbulence situation, time of arrival. So there were no delays in the flight and everything was on time. So that was a really nice Cebu Pacific experience going back home. Now, once you arrive at the airport, it's just a normal thing. You'll be walking towards the immigration, but the immigration process is a little bit different. You'll be expecting less visitors to the country. You'll be redirected to some seats. Okay, so I mean, there's no line. I don't know for other time schedules, but I arrived like 10:30 at night. So probably there was just 1 or 2 flights at that time. So once they get you seated there, this is the line for checking your quarantine hotel. The DOT will be checking your quarantine hotel, and they'll also be asking your transportation method. So you can either book a service from the hotel, or you can use a coupon taxi and an airport metered taxi. So I opted for the airport metered taxi because I wasn't expecting traffic at that time, and my hotel is not that far. And I have a different story for my taxi situation later on. So the checking of your quarantine hotel and providing you with the transportation is really quick. Maybe it takes only 3 minutes. So they'll be only checking your hotel booking and your passport, and then you'll go to the next window, which is for the Philippine Airport Diagnostic Laboratory, which is the PAD lab. So this PAD lab is a requirement before boarding the flight. So you need to register in advance, so you can do it online. PAD lab is required for the RT-PCR test to be done on the 7th day of your hotel quarantine. On that window, you'll be paying 3,500 pesos for the RT-PCR test, and you can pay that either in cash, peso, or dollar, debit card, and credit cards. And then once you're done with your payment, you're going to go to the next window, which is just confirming the details one more time. Then they'll release you for the immigration window. So once you get to the immigration window, at that time there were only 4 windows open. There are no, as in 0 line to the immigration windows. Another process that will take just 5 minutes of your time, or maybe less. After that, you'll be going down and you'll be getting your baggage, and they'll be releasing you to the exit of the airport. So once you exit the airport, you'll be going to the taxi booth, and you'll be showing another paper provided by the DOT. How is it supposed to work? It's actually supposed to work by having 70 peso start, and then it increases by the meter and by the traffic time. I was at the taxi and it was already moving, so I was wondering, oh, why is the meter not moving? So I asked the driver, why is the meter not moving? And then he said like, oh ma'am, please take care of me. And I'm like, what? This is the exact situation that I didn't want to happen. That's why I opted for an airport metered taxi, because I just wanted to follow the meter. I wanted to pay fairly. But he was just saying like, oh ma'am, please take care of me. There weren't a lot of visitors today, so I wasn't able to give a lot of rides. And it didn't end there. He was also saying like, oh, I'm sick, I need to buy medicine. So yeah, that part was a little worrisome. I had the idea of checking the Grab app. So I just checked for the fare of using a Grab car from the airport to this hotel, and I just matched that price, and I even gave an extra tip for the driver. So that was a really like tight situation for me. I didn't want to be in that kind of spot, but yeah, somehow it's the Philippines. I kind of expected that already, and yeah, I was just thankful that I had the idea of checking the Grab app instead of like being scammed or whatever.